Hi, everybody. Okay, this is my puppy, Murphy. All right, get you down, honey. Um, I am Tayler Dodson, and that was kind of like a perfect intro of my life. I'm a special education teacher in Northern Virginia. I teach a Category B classroom. I teach an IDS program, and I love it, and I love every minute of it. Currently, in this quarantine, I am a dog mom. I have two dogs, the puppy Murphy, who just jumped up, and I have another dog, Mabel, who is 7. I'm a basketball player as well. I train kids in basketball. But my whole purpose of being here today is our kiddos, my Cat B IDS kiddos. I know that with the quarantine stuff that's going on, it's been kind of like an uncertain time for all of us, and that can be scary. And we don't really know what to do. I know like my county is going online, so all the gen ed kids, their work is about to be presented online with lesson plans and things like that. My kids cannot access a computer on their own. Even if they did access a computer, it probably is not the best. It's definitely not the best way for them to learn. But what do you do? Like, we're in a time where we have to be in the house. Like, decisions were made to keep everybody safe, and that is what it is. And I'm here to just kind of help parents and other teachers and like show you guys little tips and tricks of things that you can do with materials in your house that would be very similar to what we do in our classroom. So I teach science and social studies. I did teach in an autism classroom last year where I worked closely with gen ed teachers and taught all the core subjects. My kids last year were SOL tracked, which is like our Virginia state test. And then my kids this year are on alternate assessments, so they do a little bit different curriculum, but it's aligned with the 8th grade standards for the SOL. So I do teach, like I said, science and social studies, but the stuff that I show you is just going to be like simple things that you can do from home that just like make it easy to teach these kiddos. They're interactive things, or it's things from a laptop that's like talking to you that they get to listen to, and it's just stuff that like we can't really supply you through a lesson plan. I think like just having a super accessible, like using things in our house, like our silverware that everybody has, and being able to just like show you different things that you can do with just that stuff that applies to what they learn in school or things that they do in our life skills classroom could be super helpful for parents. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over and I'm going to share my laptop screen and show you guys just like one website for today. This website is something that I used all the time with my kids last year, and I've used it a couple times with my kids this year to have them listen to different stories on like our Fun Fridays, or when we're doing like different projects, we will look at a book first that relates to whatever we're talking about, and then I'll kind of tie it in from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop my recording, I'm going to start recording my laptop screen, and just kind of talk you through this website, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I had a little technical difficulties and I want to get this video out here, so I'm just going to record it on my phone. But once you go to Google, you literally just type in Storyline Online. Mine pops up because I use it quite frequently, but it's just this first one, storylineonline.net. It's kid stories read by actors. You click that, and here's where it gets super cool. So on this website, there is thousands of books. Like, there's pretty much any book that you want, and it's listed all the way out, and you can just scroll, and it has all these different kids books up, and then they separate it by like months too, like which ones would be more beneficial in which months, and like how you can tie it into different seasons and things like that. I'm gonna do one that I've done before, and we're just gonna go to Clark the Shark, which I am scrolling everywhere. Let's go to see. Clark the Shark. My kids loved this book last year. So basically when you click on the book, it has a famous actor or actress pop up and they read the story to the kids. The cool thing is that as they're reading it, it shows like animated images of like what would be in the book, which is cool. I typically pause it every couple pages or lines and check for understanding with my kiddos, and just to also like make sure they're paying attention. Like if I was looking at this page, I might be like, how many animals do we see? And the kids can count like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we see 6 animals on this page or whatever it is. Is there something yellow? Yes or no? And this could just like help make sure that the kids are paying attention and that they're watching the video that you have up on the screen. The part that I like about this website is that underneath of each book, there's this thing that says activity guide. It says for teachers and for parents, but honestly for both, I would just use the for teachers. It tends to be like written out more detailed, and I think it's easier to follow. You can use the parent section, but I think it's like, this is pretty self-explanatory. And then it breaks it down into like different standards. So you can tie these into like the Virginia SOLs if you're a teacher, or like VAP standards, you can tie it into whatever. But if you're a parent, you can definitely just do the activities. So I'm a science teacher, and what I think is cool is that it always gives you like a science activity and like a social studies activity too, as well as like the reading and writing activity, which is super cool. So like the social studies activity is like about following rules and like writing rules. So you could tie this into like learning about the government and like the legislative branch makes laws or rules that we have to follow. Instead of thinking legislative branch, it tends to be a lot easier to just think about like, hey, Clark the shark had to follow certain behaviors in school. I use this book a lot with my behavior unit with my kids. So if you're supposed to act a certain way, like if you're supposed to be quiet when a teacher is talking, if we're supposed to sit with calm hands and a calm body, like this book really helps address those different things. My kids and I last year, we made rules to stay cool in school, and they loved it. If you have kiddos more like I teach this year that have trouble like reading and writing, you can always make the rules for them and have them sort. You can make them by color, like you could just write the rules out and color code it, like put all the red ones together. Those are rules those are things we should not do. And all the green ones could be things that you do. Again, just brainstorming like off the top of my head, but then it also gives you like a science activity of how does a shark float. So this would just be making something float in the water. And I always love doing activities with my kids. I'll insert like some pictures later. Obviously their faces can't be in it, but I'll show you like some different activities I did. And my population, like I said, is ID and IDS, which is that intellectual disabilities severe population, and they loved doing science projects. So anything that's like hands-on is great for our kids. And like I said, if you just teach gen ed, like if your kids at home are gen ed kids and you want your 4th and 5th grader to be doing this, like it is great for them to do. Big fan of Storyline Online. Okay, cool. So now that I finished sharing like just our first little resource for you, I'm gonna end things here for today. I would love to know like your thoughts, if there's something specific that you're looking for to do with your kids. If not, I'm just gonna keep kind of like sharing random activities and like ideas and showing you how I tie it into different like VAP standards or SOL standards. I can show you how I tie it into both. Again, just meant to be super informative, but also easy for parents to do and access, because I know that like you guys have a lot going on as well, and it really is going to be a collaborative effort with our group of kiddos and making sure that they still receive like the education that the gen ed students are getting.